Guys, my name is Bob Stewart. I'm super excited to be here on a Wednesday afternoon with you guys, or maybe it's morning still if you're out here on the left coast like I am. Do me a favor. We're going to dive in here in just a second. In fact, nobody needs to see my big old face on screen this large. Let's do this. Let's share my screen with you guys. There we go. We got my screen up. Let's go slideshow mode. And then I'm going to find the chat, and do me a favor. Brian, Annette, Cindy, Steve, check in for me, you guys. Go find your chat area right now in Zoom and just check in for me. Let me know. Where are you joining me from, Rima? Scott Wendell, where are you, sir? Where are you? I'm in Seattle, Washington. It's freaking beautiful here, you guys. It's sunny. I could open the window, but then I'd get a big blast of sun on the side of my face. Like, Rima, you're in Vancouver. Is it sunny up there too? What's going on out here? This is our rainy time of year. Scottsdale, Arizona. Jessica, I know it's sunny down there. Hi, Scott. Dallas, Texas. Midtown Atlanta, Sherry. Awesome. Listen, before we jump in, again, my name is Bob Stewart. We're going to talk about 7 tactics that you can kind of leverage inside of Brivity. Or maybe you're not a Brivity client. Some of these things you could do in other platforms. You can probably figure out on your own, Patty. But if you're up there in Toronto, and like my friend Austin Keatner, you want to use Brivity for some of these things, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Now, before we do, and it doesn't matter where you're at, Patty, if you're in Toronto, or Jessica, you're down in Scottsdale, Sherry, you in Midtown, Duvall up there in Edmonton, we don't, Americans, Canadians, come one, come all. I just really quick before we dive in, want to let you guys know about the Wealth Series. And the Wealth Series is something that our founder here at Brivity, Ben Kinney, put together in 2020. We launched this Wealth Series back in 2020. And I think to date, about 45,000 people have gone through it. It's basically just a series of short podcast recordings accompanied by some workbooks that is really Ben Kinney's like methodology around building wealth. You guys, if you're interested, it's free. It actually costs us money. Last time we gave away, like, I don't know how much, we gave away a bunch of money. This time we're committed to giving away $10,000. I think somebody's going to win $5,000. A bunch of people are going to win $1,000. Secret? We had a bunch of kids take this thing last time, you guys, and Ben Kinney gave $1,000 to every kid that took it. I think there was like 13 of them or something, parents who got their kids under 18 involved in this thing. It's for me personally, growing up, nobody taught me about wealth building. I didn't learn about money in school. I watched my mom like balance a checkbook. That was the extent of what I learned about building wealth. It's an awesome course to raise your financial literacy. It's totally free, no gimmicks. We don't even run ads in there. This is a gift from Ben Kinney back to mainly the real estate community, but really anybody, you guys. And we got lots of people engaged in this. I don't have any question that we're going to top the 45,000 people that went through this last time. We'd love to have you guys engaged in here. It's kind of a take it at your own pace, but we set a pace, and it's going to launch January 3rd. Would love to get you guys involved. Enough about that. Zoe, look at that. Thank you, Zoe. Ooh, and I didn't actually even give my link to everybody. Zoe did, because she's on the ball behind the scenes. Rima, let's jump in here. Let's start. Forget about that. Let's dive in. We got a listing, you guys. By the way, we're probably going to have listings are still going to be, a hot commodity in 2023. They're probably going to sit on the market just a little bit longer than they've been sitting on the market for the last couple of years. So some of these strategies are actually going to lead to even more leads potentially in 2023 than they have been capable of in the last few years, because a lot of our listings were selling in the last few years in that first weekend, right? Especially if they were priced right. Now, Kwkly signs. I don't know what the breakdown is here in these calls. We definitely have some Brivity clients on here. I recognize a few of your names. There's a few of your names I don't recognize, so I'm assuming you're not a Brivity client. What is Kwkly? So Kwkly is basically our replacement for flyers. We don't do flyers anymore. I have a listing. There's a home for sale in my neighborhood right down the street. It's been on the market for like 4 weeks. I've never seen flyers in the flyer box. I'm assuming they were in there on day one, but I'd never seen them. So I got to go online to go look up what it is, even though I walk by that thing every day. Now, in your neighborhood, if somebody's walking by your listing, you're going to have a Kwkly sign deployed. And what a Kwkly sign allows somebody to do is based on the keyword that you pick. And so, you know, Brivity teams generally have keywords kind of either specific to their area or specific to their brand. So like on our Ben Kinney teams, again, Ben's the founder here at Brivity, but we eat our own dog food, we like to say. So all of Ben's partners and teams run on the Brivity platform. Ben's keyword is Ben Kinney. So somebody who walks by or drives by or is out walking the dog in their neighborhood and they want to know what their neighbor's house is listed for. Maybe they're out cruising around on a Sunday, just looking for houses, right? Instead of getting out and grabbing the flyer, because here in Washington, you guys, it's sunny today, but normally it's pouring down rain this time of year, right? People can just text in to get information about our property. And in exchange, we're going to get their cell phone number. Probably the most valuable piece of like contact information you can have for somebody in 2023, because we can text them, we can call them, right? We can send them videos of ourselves if we wanted, let them know we're an awesome agent, Kenny. By default, if somebody thinks, ooh, I'm gonna get this sign, I'm gonna put a rider out, people will tend to put kind of those traditional riders that kind of sit on the top of the arm bar or hang below the sign. They tend to be like 6 inches by, you know, the width of your sign, 24 inches, let's say. We use 18 by 24 standalone designs that actually sit independent of our listing sign. They're about twice as effective. We've tested them both ways. Kwkly signs, you're going to get them out. And here's the deal. It used to be that some of you guys would say things to me like, oh, yeah, I mean, we have Brivity and we have Kwkly, but we haven't taken the time to get the signs off because our listings are selling right away. They're selling on the first weekend. And the question I always ask, Patty, is, do you just run out there right after that and rip the sign down then? No, of course not. That thing sits out there for at least the 30 days that it's pending, right? Why not pick up a few cell phone number leads of somebody that might be interested, even if that thing is pending? Awesome. Call them, let them know it's pending, but maybe you have another listing nearby that you could show them. Guys, my mom is a real estate agent. I'll probably reference her a couple of times here today. She loves her Kwkly leads. 1 in every 3 of her, so she turns about 1 in 11 Kwkly leads into a transaction in the first 45 days. Now, my mom's super aggressive. She's like a big time caller. She uses auto plans and all the tools and leverage that Brivity provides. But she takes 1 in 11 of her Kwkly leads into a transaction in the first 45 days. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, these are people that are essentially slowing down and grabbing the flyer, but instead of grabbing the flyer, we're just trading contact info for the information about the property. 1 in 3 of her contracts are actually sellers out of her Kwkly leads, which means these aren't just buyer leads. This is actually an audition, and every listing is, by the way, an audition for your next seller, right? Somebody in those neighborhoods my mom's listing properties in are out walking their dog, and they're like, oh my gosh, the Johnsons, what do they have their house listed for, right? And now Gail has an opening. And when she calls them, she'll generally use a script that sounds something like, hey, people normally text about our open or about our listings for 1 of 2 reasons. Either they're trying to find a property for themselves, or they live in the area and they're curious what their own home may be worth. Which one are you? And that's the script she'll use when she calls these Kwkly leads. And by the way, 100% of the time when she calls them, not 100% of the time they answer, but it is the person that was out there at that property. There's no faking a Kwkly lead. Some of you guys have websites where I guarantee like Bill Gates and Mickey Mouse and, you know, Bill Clinton have all signed up on your website, fake leads. You never get a fake lead through Kwkly. Now, we also use Kwkly on the portals. So Zillow, you can go do this. Like if you have your listings claimed on Zillow, you can go right into to Zillow and update or enhance that listing there. Some of your MLSs feed this to the portals, but you can't do this necessarily in your MLS. For most of you guys, this would be a violation. But at the portal level, if you can amend your listings, what we will do is we will slide a little text call to action in there. The one I have on the screen is a really powerful, kind of impactful one. To contact a listing agent directly or to schedule a private tour of this home, text Ben Kinney to 59559. The first person that ever like told me they were going to try this, I was like, I don't know, it seems like nobody would ever do that. Like, I'm on the portal. Why wouldn't I just click that contact agent button right there? What Jason Secor is the gentleman's name who did this first. When he called me back 2 months later to kind of rub it in my face that he was getting a bunch of extra leads out of the portals from the texting, what he said is when he would end up getting these people on the phone, many of them in the past had contacted the agent about that listing and then come to find out it wasn't the actual listing agent, and they, for whatever reason, wanted to talk to the listing agent. Right? The consumer gets smarter and smarter the longer that they're in the game of trying to find the perfect property for themselves. So we just, look, if we're the listing agent on that property, we want them to have a really easy path to get back to us, because unless Gail has full coverage of her listings in Bremerton, Washington on Zillow, it's highly likely if somebody hit that contact agent button, they're going to some Zillow premier agent or something in Bremerton, Washington, right? Not to Gail. So she gives them an option or an opportunity in there to reach out directly to her. We pick up a lead or two per listing when we do this out on the portals, and our listings are going to sit out on those portals a little bit longer in 2023. All right, next up, just listed postcards. Now, we do them on just listeds. There's a couple different examples. We do them on just solds. So here's how our postcards work, okay? There's a couple ways. We have, let's just go in here for a second, because I think it makes a lot of sense to kind of show this to you guys instead of just tell it to you. So they're super easy to create. You basically come in here, decide what size you want to do, right? Pick a template that you want to run with, right? And then go off and find the property that you have listed. Let's say it's this one, and boom, I got a postcard campaign created. I can edit this thing, right? From here, I need to decide who I'm going to send it to. Okay. So a couple ways we can choose who to send it to. We can go automatically. Like right now, if we decided to send 300 postcards, it's going to send to these 300 addresses, and we could zero in on this map and kind of figure out like what those are. But that is an AI, artificial intelligence, generated list where we've gone out and run an algorithm in the background and said, look, if this is your listing at 4604 Wake Forest Road, we know the best 300 homes to drop that postcard at. Patty, we're not just going to drop it at like the 300 nearest houses to yours. That would be like an every door direct mail, USPS type of a thing. What we're going to do is we're going to drop that postcard at the 300 homes that are most likely to be buying or selling soon. And the way we do that is based on a bunch of data that we have about properties and people, right? Like, we're not going to send it to the neighbor that just bought their house 3 months ago, because Kenny, they're in couches and curtains mode, right? Karen, we want to send it to the house 7 doors down where that family's lived there for 7 years. We know they got a whole bunch of equity in it, and they might also be thinking about selling. So we want them to see your marketing, not the guy who just bought and isn't going to buy or sell again for 5 years. You can also decide to come in here and just draw on a map. You can go draw on your own map and figure out where you want to send it. Maybe your listing's in an area of town where there's 3 neighborhoods over on the other side of town, and they are generally feeder neighborhoods into where your listing's at. Cool. Let's go drop a postcard into those 3 feeder neighborhoods. Maybe you just want to upload your own list. You can do any of those things. Maybe every time you list a property, you want to make sure your sphere knows, right? And we can combine those things. We can send 200 postcards out to the algorithm. We could go draw then, and drop 100 over in this neighborhood. And then we can make sure that our top 100 sphere also know that we're crushing it in real estate right now. We track the postcards all the way to their door, USPS first class mail. If they get returned, we give you a credit back for the postcard. There's a couple of calls to action you can use on these things. If you decide to use like a link, what we do is we drop a unique link at every home. Every postcard gets its own unique link, Patty, so that, Ryan, if somebody at that house goes and goes to that link to go and look at the photos of the house or the virtual tour or whatever, we give you a lead in your database that's like, hey, this person at 123 Main Street, and then we've got a little tool you can go to look up and see if we can find their email and their phone number. But we know who's actually like going and looking at your postcards, and we give you a lead back. The other type of call to action you could use would be a Kwkly keyword, like we talked about just a second ago. In that case, instead of getting an address and knowing we know where the person is who's looking at this thing, we could get their cell phone number. These postcards are super easy to create. We've got them for all sorts of different things. They're in people's mailbox in 4 to 6 business days. I mean, we can even do letters and envelopes and handwritten postcards, and you can automate the sending of birthday and home anniversary cards in here, right? But as it relates to your listings and the way that you might potentially generate some more leads from those, just listed, just sold postcards. Here's Ryan that earlier this summer talking about they work. Right now, look, postcard. I'll just tell you, if I had to pick one of these strategies, and my ultimate thing was like cost per lead or something, it wouldn't be postcards, you guys. Postcards are kind of a combined marketing and lead gen strategy, right? And they kind of slant more heavily towards marketing. But again, every listing you're going to take in 2023, Rob Carter, is going to be an audition for your next listing. And this is a really great way to audition to other people in the neighborhood that you have a listing in today. All right, so we've taken the listing, we've gotten our Kwkly sign out, right? Maybe we sent a postcard that first day to set up for that open house we're going to probably host. And Sam, it's likely in 2023, we're going to host a few more open houses than we did last year. Because again, well, at least the first half of last year and the previous year and the year before that, right? When houses were flying off, like maybe we'd do an open house that weekend, but we didn't need to get the house sold. We're going to be doing a lot more open houses in 2023. And our team's approach is going to be using the open house registration pages off of your Brivity website. Now, these are super easy to create. Basically, find the listing that you're about to hold open. You put /open house at the end of the URL. Really easy, and you get this kind of landing page now that you could put on your iPad or your what do they call those things? Your tablet. Sorry, you put it on your iPad. So like a lot of our teams will use a stand. Right, one of them $50 iPad stands that you can get on Amazon. You know, if they're in a less desirable part of town, they might even throw a lock around it at the kitchen table or something. But it sits there kind of near the door at that first kind of entry point into the home. And we ask people to register at the open house. Renee, I don't know. Maybe you're one of those people like, I don't know. I don't like asking people to come into my open house, like, or to register when they come in. My mom's super aggressive. If you guys ever met my mom, she's just like one of those type A personalities, right? Like high D. And I've been asked multiple times, like, well, what if they won't register? You guys, I swear, my mother will turn them around and send them out of the house. She's just like, I need you guys to check in. The sellers want to know who's coming through their house. Right now, our script when they come in sounds a lot like you heard me say earlier when we called that Kwkly lead, but it's basically, hey, thanks for coming into my open house today. I'm Gail. What's your name? Oh, hey, Rob. Listen, people normally come in for one of two reasons. Either they're out trying to find like that perfect home for themselves, or they live in the area and they might be curious what their own home is worth. Which one are you, Rob? Listen, Rob, before we run you through the house, love to get you to check in here so that the sellers know who's coming through. Would also like to be able to follow up with you guys. Now, you can do it on your tablet. You can do it on a laptop. What a lot of our teams are doing today is they're coming in here to their Brivity marketer and they're making a quick open house sign-in sheet right here. that's a QR code. Then they print off 4 or 5 of those. They stick them around the house, maybe one on the front door, a couple, spots inside the home. And then they're just making sure that they get a lead that comes through on their Brivity Go app in their pocket, letting them know that person did register. They did shoot the QR code and they did fill out the little bit of information that is on these registration forms. Now, as they come in here, right, as they go into your database, what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. And if you use like a traditional sign-in sheet today, you may be getting the lead. But here's the difference between using one of these, right? The lead's going to automatically flow into your CRM. So if you had 7 people come through, they're all going to be inside of your Brivity. Sam, you're not going to like find a paper sheet under your front seat of your car 2 weeks later and like, oh my God, there's those open house leads, right? They're just going to be in the database. Then we can have auto plans firing off on these automatically. And we have a bunch of auto plans. If you're not a Brivity client, you become one, we'll give them to you. If you are a Brivity client today and you're like, I don't have a very good open house auto plan, reach out to our support team and they'll give you Ben Kinney's team's open house plan. But essentially what happens is that plan fires on that lead automatically, but the first text won't go out to them for 2 hours. So in theory, they'd have spent some time walking around the house and now they've left, right? And the first text is going to go out to them. It's going to say something like, hey, thanks so much for swinging by our open house today. After having a few hours to digest it, did you guys have any particular questions? Or did you maybe even want to make an offer? Right? That's all going to happen, probably while the agent's still at their open house or cleaning up and shutting all the lights off and locking the doors. They're also going to get set up to be sent listings similar to the property they visited you at. So if you have a $500,000 house in Bellingham that you're holding open and they come in and register on your open house registration pages, guess what? They're going to start getting listings sent to them in Bellingham right around $500,000. Super powerful tool for you guys. I mean, look, we do in our world, if you're an agent kind of getting up to speed, we're doing 2 open houses every weekend, right? We generate thousands of leads a year from open house. And because we've got all that leverage behind us of the plans that start communication and the listing alerts that start peppering them with what they really want, which is other listings for sale, we're able to convert a lot of those people into buyers and sellers, right? Now, if Rob Carter, when somebody's at that open house, I have a great conversation with them and the lead's gone into the database, and I know there's this auto plan about to fire a text out to them in 2 hours, but I don't want it to go. I just pull out my Brivity Go app and I just pause that auto plan because I had a great conversation with them in the home. All right, reverse prospecting your database. So this isn't necessarily, you guys, like I got a new lead, right? Like this strategy is not going to find me a new lead. But a lot of our teams, so when I say our teams, Ben Kinney has a company called Place. We partner with about, right now, I think it's 180 teams around the United States. They all run our models and our systems. So as we were planning for 2023, most of our teams have an element of their GPS in states that allow dual agency, right? Where we want to double end some of our listings this year, right? Like I'm thinking of one team that they did about 200 transactions last year, and they of those 200 transactions, about 115 of them were listings, and they only double ended 5 of them. So this year they want to triple that. They want to double end 15 of their listings instead of just 5. And that's one of the strategies that's going to get them to a growing business, even though we're most of our markets are looking at a 20 to 30% reduction in the number of home sales that are going to happen. We're going to go double end some of our listings, and this is how we're going to do it. I'll take you in here really quick and let me show you kind of reverse prospecting inside of Brivity. So what you can do in Brivity with this search listings functionality is I can come in here and I can say, look, let me just make sure I'm logged, because I was bouncing around in here. I got to make sure I'm logged in as Jolene so that we see the right stuff over here. All right, so I can go in here and just say, show me all of our company's listings in Bellingham. Like right now, this is all of the Ben Kinney team listings they have listed in Bellingham, Washington. And what you'll notice over here is for each one of these properties, I have buyer matches. Now, what that's a function of is any traffic that they've had coming to their website. And over time, you know, we set listing alerts up on everybody. Like if you're a lead in our database, you are getting listings from us. Ryan Zalo, it's probably worth just for a second, you guys, like literally everyone. Guys, we send listings to our sphere who we know aren't going to buy or sell for 3 years. And here's why we do it. And here's how we kind of set it up. We do it because the top like 4 websites in real estate, let's say Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, maybe we could throw Truly in there. They get about 100 million visitors a month. 100 million visitors a month. Like how many people are in the United States even? Like 350, I don't know, maybe we're getting close to 400 million. 100 million people a month go to these 4 websites, and then you throw in all of our websites. And half the population of the United States is looking at real estate in some way or another in a given month. But only 5 million houses sell all year, 5.5 million. Next year, it's going to be like 4.3 million houses is what they're estimating. So 100 million people a month go look at real estate, but only 4.3 million all year are going to buy and sell real estate. People like real estate, you guys. We have a product that people love. So we get lots of people on listing alerts. And it might sound something like, hey, I know you guys aren't thinking about buying or selling anytime soon, but we want to just, some people like to look at properties. We're just going to send you guys, kind of properties in the area, just so you can stay up to speed on what's happening in your neighborhood, right? If you see anything you have questions about, let me know. So then when we get a listing, we can come in here and say, like, so this listing is what? It's 570,000 in Bellingham, right? So I can click right here. And what it's going to do is it's going to take me into their database, and it's going to show me anybody. And how many are there, by the way? 1,034 people that have looked at a property on their website between 5, kind of in that price range that ours is listed at. We kind of bracket it with a percentage. What could I do here? I could send these guys that listing. I just come in here and be like, hey, let's share that listing with them, right? I can come in here and say, hey guys, we're hosting an open house this weekend on this property, but I wanted to let you guys know I've got a couple openings on Friday. If any of you guys would like to get in, I know you've been looking at similar houses on our website. I could come in here and call them. I just put them all on a call list and hit start right there and do a dialer session, just call all these people and invite them to my open house on Saturday. Call them, I could send them the listing with an invite to come see it. Our teams are aggressively leaning into this strategy. When we go list a new property, immediately the day it lists, we come and find it in here, right? We can go look up properties too. Like I could come in here and be like, all right, let me go find some properties, right? I got a listing. It's 1339 varsity, right? And I go pull that up, and now there's my matches. I could choose to send this out and share it with everybody. Really, really powerful strategy, you guys, that we are going to heavily lean into in 2023 because we want to double in more of our stuff than we did. Like last year, we put it on the market and somebody bought a buyer for it. This year, they're not bringing a buyer to us the first weekend. Some of these houses are going to sit a little bit longer. We're going to work a little bit harder to go find buyers for our own listings. Again, not a strategy to generate new leads in your world, but it's definitely a strategy to go help you find a buyer for your listing. Will, you're going to double into a few listings this year, Todd? Is that in your, in your GPS or your plan for 2023? Awesome. This reverse prospecting search listings functionality in Brivity is going to help you do that. All right. I don't know how many we're at here. Maybe we're at 5 or 6, something like that. Craigslist. Like, I don't know how many years ago it was. So many years ago in real estate, like there was a big deal to go. There was thousands of real estate listings being pushed to Craigslist. There was services out there that people could buy that would run all your listings up 50 times to Craigslist. And then Craigslist like started curbing some of that stuff. They started Links don't work in there anymore, right? You put a link in there, it's just this long, gnarly thing that can't be clicked. People have to copy and paste it. And a lot of agents abandon Craigslist. We still today. And look, maybe this is because many years ago, Ben Kinney sold a house to a guy, an international buyer that was a Chinese buyer who had come in through Vancouver, who flew down in his helicopter to buy a property in Bellingham. And we got the lead from Craigslist. A lot of, especially if you guys are in areas that have international buyers, a lot of them don't know how to search for properties. And Craigslist is like this international thing, and they will go there every month still. And this is just for us, it's a VA job. We have the VAs go post the properties to Craigslist, right? For more information, text Craigslist to 59. So we use a Kwkly call to action in there. We generate, like, I don't know, in the last 30 days, Craigslist, they've had 24 leads come in, free leads. Now, I mean, I guess they cost us we pay $8 an hour for a VA or something, and the VA probably spent 3 or 4 hours posting these ads, right? Maybe it was a $30 spend to get 24 leads. Anybody out there willing to spend $30 on a VA to get 24 leads? Of course, right? Or maybe you can do it free, right? You have 2 hours to go find a way to generate 24 leads. When couple things that we've been seeing recently that have been really kind of effective, and not just related to Craigslist, the portal calls to action that I talked about earlier. We've been doing a lot of stuff around like special financing. Talk to us about how we can get your interest rate lowered, right? The 2-1 buy down type scenarios. So those kind of things where we're planting in there, like reach out to us for information about this property or to talk to us about our special financing. Those work. All right, I think this is the last one that I'm going to cover here today. I'm going to come back into our Brivity marketer tool, where earlier we talked about just listed and just sold postcards. Before I come down here and talk about the digital ads, the Facebook ads that you guys can run, I want to just quickly kind of highlight 2 other aspects of Brivity Marketer that I think are pretty powerful. We've got all the print media options. So like right now, today, I don't know how you guys make your flyers. Some of you probably share, I bet some of you make them in Canva, right? Where you've got a template that you love in Canva, but every time you got a new listing, you got to go in there and upload all the photos. And in Brivity, if I want to come in here and create a flyer, now some of these have QR codes that I can get somebody to shoot. I'm actually going to pick one that doesn't have a QR code just so I don't have to kind of do that step here for you guys. Let's say it's a single side listed. I go find my property, right? Let's say I'm Jacqueline's property over here in Vancouver. I hit create print media and it just goes in there and creates the flyer for me, right? It pulled in all the information. Now Cody doesn't seem to have an image in here. It would have pulled his photo in, but it pulled in his logos, pulled in a little description about the property. Now, like I can't do that. It's the same thing, just pulled the first 3 lists or images from the MLS. I just come in here real quick, you guys, edit it, go find some photos. Obviously, I'd want a different photos down there, right? Maybe I want to pull the kitchen photo in here. So I just drag that kitchen photo in. Maybe I want to come down here and find the master bathroom or whatever. I pull that one in. Now I've got, I'd come in here and adjust this. If I wanted to add a little bit more in here, I could just keep right on typing, minus the fat fingers that you guys saw there. What could I do? I could download this right now and I could go print it, right? I could download it as a PNG if I wanted to send it around to a few people. Maybe I just wanted to print it. I could go do that. Done. Easy. Tons of templates in here. For us, building what Ben set out to build Brivity Marketer so that our Brivity clients could have beautiful, consistent marketing, right? You could have a postcard that went out that looked very much like the flyer they'd see when they came and visit at the property, that would look a lot like the social media graphics if you guys were connected to them on social that you were posting about that new listing, right? We got hundreds of different variations of social media type templates in here and different sizes for stories or posting to the main feeds. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in here beyond just my listing, right? Where there's recruiting stuff, there's testimonials if you guys want to promote, people saying nice things about your business. Maybe you've got coming soons and it's all pretty simple to use, right? Like literally, if you can drag and drop, you're probably going to have some really beautiful designs that you can deploy into your business. Now, I brought us back here to talk about these paid ad campaigns. And you guys can see, so this is Cody. He's down in Birmingham, Alabama. We can see some of the different ads that they've run. He ran a $54 ad campaign, 12 leads. So that might have been on a little bit more expensive property or something, right? Ooh, this one got leads, sub $2 a lead right here. This one was about $3 a lead, a little bit more expensive for some of these. I think these are on some of his a little bit higher end properties. Tends to be the higher end properties, a little bit higher cost per lead because there's not quite as many people clicking through on those. But you guys, if you have properties, I'll just tell you right now, in this market, that we're in the first time home buyer price point, wherever that is in your market, Todd, Steve, right? Like I think my mom's market in Olympia, Washington, every time she gets a $400,000 listing down there in Olympia, Tacoma area, 350 to 400, that's that first time home buyer range in our market. She's gonna lean into that Facebook ads on that. Why? Because we get a bunch of listings. A bunch of leads. We get them right in this range right here, the $2, $3 a lead range. When these leads come in, again, they filter into the database automatically, right? Listing alerts start going out to that person automatically. We've got an auto plan that starts talking to them automatically. All you got to do is be able to come in here and say, all right, I want to run an ad. What's it going to look like? Right? I'm going to use this property right here. Oh, that might have. Oh, yeah, there we go. Right? I'm going to pick we actually even have some templates. We do a weekly training call on this particular thing right here, where we give you guys templates that you can use to go in here and write the copy for your ads. But you basically just pick a budget and how long you want it to run for, and you go run it. I mean, it doesn't have to be 14 days, right? Like some of those ones we saw Cody doing, he was running like $10 budgets for like 6 days, right? Maybe 5 days. Boom. It's really simple to run a Facebook ad out of here. There's a couple of places in Brivity that are massively underutilized. And I think the Facebook ad stuff, you guys, is one of them. And here's why I say this. This is the third cycle that I've been in on this kind of ad cost spectrum. Here's what I mean by that. When I started in real estate back in 2000, late 2000, there wasn't even a Google back then. We used to feed our properties from our website into a thing called Overture, and Overture fed Yahoo's search engine back then, and I Ask Jeeves and AOL search engine. Some of you guys that have been around on the internet for years, you know what these things are, right? And so you'd feed your listings in there, and then they'd go out to these places. And when we started doing that, nobody else was doing it, and the leads cost $1, right? And then leads cost $3, and then they cost $5, and then they cost $10 because other people got into that market. And then Google came around. And when we first started doing Google, we got leads for $1. And then they were $3, and then they were $5, and then they were $10, and then they were $15. In some of your markets today, a buyer leads $28, sometimes more. Then Facebook came around, and when Facebook started, they were $1. And then they were $2. And now they're $3 to $4. You guys, they will end up being, like, the economics will just dictate that those leads will end up being 5, 8, 10, 15. Right now, they're 3 to 5. Now, on some of your higher end properties, right, the leads end up costing a little bit more, but it's still a massively underutilized mechanism to get people into your database. When you really start to understand how Facebook's algorithms work and kind of who they put your ad in front of, Facebook knows, right, Sherry? Like, they're not going to put your ad in front of some 18-year-old kid who's at college who doesn't have a job. Facebook knows that about most of the people on their platform, right? They're going to put it in front of the guy that they know has a job and he's lived in his house for 7 years and they've seen him out clicking around on Zillow. And these are really great leads in our world. And we lean into listings. Here's the other place we really heavily lean into listings. It's in that, I mean, it's in that first move up price point. So let's say we'll go back to my mom's market. Let's say 400,000 to 500,000 kind of first time home buyer range. If I have a listing at 600,000, right, and I go put that out there, that's that first kind of move up range in her market. What we tend to find there is many of the leads that hit those move up price point homes are people that live in houses today. They live in a $350,000 house in Tacoma, and now they're thinking about a $500,000 house. These are outstanding, stellar leads. There's a little bit of a cost associated with them. Now, you might say, you know what? I don't have time for that crap, right? Even though it's really easy, guys. It is really, but some of you guys might say, you know what? I just want somebody else to do this for me. I need a consistent flow of leads. We have a team. If you guys need a consistent flow of leads for your business, pull your cell phone out right now and text "need leads" to 59559. So who you sending the message to? 59559. What is the body of the message? Need leads. If you guys do that, we'll send you a little calendar and you can book on there to come talk to Amy or somebody on her team. The way that we do our kind of lead gen in partnership with you, the way I like to think about it anyway, is we combine our digital marketing expertise with your local market knowledge. So we don't just run the same ads for everybody. Like, Todd, wherever you're at, it's probably a different market than where Will is. And so we'll actually have a consultation with you. We'll sit down and say, what's happening in your market? Like, tell us a little bit. What type of buyer would you like to target? So for example, up here in Bellingham, for the Ben Kinney team, we're constantly running ads that are targeting like view properties in Bellingham, right? Hey, interested in a view property in Bellingham, a property that's got a view of the mountains or a view of the sound? Or the reason we do that is because those tend to be like move up type buyers, right? Like when I first buy a house in Bellingham, unfortunately, as a first time home buyer, I don't get a view, right? Like I live in a little neighborhood and over time, right, I get to a point in my career or whatever, the equity in my house, I'm like, I think we can afford the view house now. So we're targeting a particular type of buyer, and that's just based on kind of what we know about our local market in Bellingham. Our team will use their digital marketing expertise and combine it with your local market knowledge to get you guys a consistent flow of leads in your area. Now, if you're not a Brivity platform client, we've got all sorts of pricing options. Brivity's built for big teams. And we got a lot of really big mega teams running Brivity that have, 20 people on the team and hundreds of leads coming in and they're sending out thousands of messages. And we have individual solo agents that use Brivity and we price it accordingly. So we've got really affordable plans down there for individual agents. And as your team grows and you're using more data and those kind of things, the pricing expands. If you guys are curious, you're not a Brivity user today, you're like, man, some of these things he talked about, like I could totally see myself using those in my business and I don't have access to those tools today, text platform to 59559. Again, we'll just send you back a little link and you guys can go in there and schedule a time to talk to somebody on our team if you're interested in it. Before I let you guys go today, and I really appreciate your time, do me a favor. When you shut this down, a little survey is going to pop up. Fill that out for me. One of you guys that fills that out, we're going to send you guys a $50 gift card. It's just asking, hey, how'd it go? Is there anything else you'd like to learn about on these calls? And then giving us a little rating on what you thought of what you learned here today. I don't care how you rate me. Just do me a favor and rate me so that my friend Zoe behind the scenes can get a little bit of feedback on our call today. Sherry, Will, Valerie, Todd, I really appreciate you guys joining me. I don't see any questions that have come in here as we've been going along, but I will take a deep breath, give you guys a minute to ask a few questions, and then we'll high five and get on our way for the rest of an awesome Wednesday in real estate. All right. Ooh, I see somebody has their hand up. Let me go see, who is that? Who put their hand up? Renee, you want to come talk to me, Renee? Hey, Renee, I just lit your mic up there. If you want to talk to me, would love to hear your question.
Yeah, real quickly, will you send out a recording of this, a link to it? Because we are considering the platform, and I'd like for my business partner who wasn't available to sit in on this to see it.
So Renee, we will send the recording out to you guys, given the fact that you registered. So it'll come out, I believe, later today, or it might be tomorrow. But yes, you will get the recording in your hands for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're super welcome. Thank you so much for joining us down there in Palmetto. That's where you're at, Renee?
Yeah, KW Palmetto. Yeah, Columbia,
Awesome.
South Carolina.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And we'll make sure you get your hands on that recording. It should be there tomorrow. Okay.
Great.
All right. Let's see. Let's disable. Boom. There we go. All right. Cindy, Brian, Brittany, Deval, Deborah, Jessica, Juan, you guys have an awesome afternoon. Kenny, Karen, Renee, Sasha, Sherry. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody.